you just look at that? I think that's pretty amazing, don't you? I think that's pretty amazing, don't you? It sounds like the sound's coming through just fine. So we're going to do a final check on the visual. There we go. It is dawn where we're at, friends. 6:16 a.m. the last day here on the coast. Tonight I will be back home. Am I sad or sorry to be going back home? No, I'm actually quite happy about it. But I will be sad to be leaving this view behind. And it is what it is. I hope that the storm settles down a little bit in the next hour or so. And I wouldn't even really call it a storm. I would more call it some strong winds that are driving some beautiful waves to shore. And those waves are the things that are breaking and crashing on the rocks and creating this wonderful ambience here in the morning. Good morning, friends. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding our sleep, minding what we eat. So I mind my sleep. I try to get 7 to 9 hours in the night. Last night was a bit short of that, 6.5, I think, give or take. It's just, I don't know if it's distracting for you, but it's just so beautiful and so loud here that I hope you're able to hear everything that I'm saying and trying to tell you. So I try to sleep 7 to 9 hours in a night. I try to mind what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, which is around 21 to 2200 calories in a day. So I would be very mindful of that when I'm at home. I tend to have certain go-to recipes, but I also measure quite a bit of the food that I eat just to make sure that I get the proportions more or less right, because 2200 calories is about 3 full meals and a snack. It's very easy to actually overshoot the amount of calories and create a disbalance between energy in and energy out. I try to eat a lot of vegetables. I eat fish, I eat meat in proportion, small parts. Trying to cut back the quantity of meat, because I developed the idea that I need to eat a lot of meat and a lot of protein, very high protein diet, to hit my strength and muscle building goals, my longevity goals. And I am now slowly becoming of the opinion that maybe I can do so with less, or I can hit those protein goals with, how should I put that, with more plant-based protein and less animal protein. The third thing about nutrition is that I, within that protein goal, I try to hit between 70 and 120 grams of protein in a day. I think 120 grams of protein maybe is a bit too much for my goals, but 70 feels a bit light, so I'm trying to see what the middle ground is and what the appropriate level of protein intake is in order to not only be strong and be healthy right now between my 40th and 60th birthday, but actually stay strong and healthy over time. So we talked about sleep, we talked about nutrition. I also show up for training. Usually the live stream is a training, but this environment doesn't really lend itself to me working out because it's slanted. So after the live stream, I go to the gym. I usually do strength training, strength conditioning training, endurance training, HIIT training, mobility training. 7 days a week. I try to do something different every day. So a bit more of an intense day one day, recovery day the next day. And I try to alternate between those on and off to maintain a general sense of health and fitness. And I think that it's important to remember and realize that health and fitness can come and go depending on how well we maintain ourselves through our sleep, through our nutrition, and through our activity levels. Besides that, I try to spend time with people I love and care about. I think relationships and connection to other people is incredibly important for my health and well-being. I try to do things that I enjoy. I think having things that I enjoy doing for the sake of doing them, and working out isn't one of them, but mastering the kettlebell, for example, is, or creative storytelling, so things that I want to learn and get better at, skills, abilities that I want to develop, are good investments of time and energy and focus because they give us a sense of completion and fulfillment and satisfaction. And I think that's an important part of health and fitness as well. And I simply try to live a stress-free life as much as possible. And that is not always possible, but if and when it is, I enjoy trying to just take it easy and not be too stressed or concerned or worried about things that are happening in the world that are out of my control. It is early. Where have I been the last 2 days? I've been sleeping, and since today was the last day of the holiday, I really wanted to come out and do a live stream this morning because I didn't want to miss this final opportunity actually to sit here at sunrise. Even though I think it's slightly overcast from what I can tell. There is sun behind the clouds, but we have clouds or slight fog on the horizon there that might be blocking some of the sunlight. And just sit and talk about rest and recovery, because the videos generally are about working out, so you don't get to see all of the other things that I do in a day. And I always like to say that while the day and the week have 23 and a half other hours outside of my 30 minutes of working out, that I like to fill with different activities, and that are filled with these activities called having a life. Working out is supportive of everything else that I do. It is a means to an end. It is not the end of, it is not the end goal of the activity. Let me take you on a quick journey on what my outlook is and why I think this is important. So first of all, on average, if I look at the statistics for the country that I live in, but apparently these are also global statistics, it is a fact that we are generally challenged in terms of our weight. We are generally obese, and certain diseases are on the rise. Diseases that are generally preventable or can be slowed through, the onset of which can be slowed or maybe even prevented through different lifestyle changes. We're talking about metabolic diseases, cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and neurodegenerative diseases. In a certain way, if we get old enough, we're all going to start suffering from something or another. But we are getting older, and we are suffering of these afflictions more and more and more. And there's good evidence apparently to point in the direction that we can actually get to 70, 80, or 90 without without suffering too many detrimental effects of aging and age-related diseases if we make certain lifestyle changes. So for me, the goal is to get as old as I can, to stay as active and adventurous and strong and fit and healthy as I can, and to stay off medicine and to prevent discomforts and disease for as long as I can, through um, making minor lifestyle adjustments now and over time, right? Because what works right now at 41 might not work at 45, might not work at 50, might not work at 55. So we're going to have to constantly be reconfiguring and adjusting our lifestyle activities, nutrition, sleep patterns, pursuits, things that we do to match the reality that we find ourselves living in. And hopefully, given the situation in the world, we're going to be able to live to 70, 80, or 90 in relative peace and comfort. So that's one. The second thing, I have 2 children. And my children, I would like them to see what an active lifestyle is, show them what being a father and being an adult and being active and healthy and fit and sporty is, but also show them the kinds of habits and activities and foods and sleep patterns that are going to keep them healthier and fitter for a long and healthy life themselves, right? And that all translates into 30 minutes of training in a day, give or take. That is what I try to do first thing when I wake up. So after this live stream, I'm going to go to the hotel gym and do a 30, 60-minute workout, but also generally living a relatively active lifestyle throughout the day that involves a lot of movement, maybe some micro breaks, some micro activities, because I have an office job where I sit, that involves some play, some fun, just some things to generally keep us active and healthy through living rather than through exercising on top of living, if that makes sense. When we go on holidays and when we try to relax, we are trying to recover from all of the stresses that we suffer in life. And I have maintained all of the habits that I have at home because it is not that I am forcing myself to live a certain way, to eat a certain way, because I have to. I actually enjoy the things that I do. I enjoy waking up early. I enjoy coming out here at dawn and turning on a live stream, having a conversation. I enjoy being in the gym early and getting that sweat and that workout in. I enjoy eating relatively healthy, well-measured portions of foods that are sufficient, that leave me satisfied and not hungry. I enjoy eating lots of greens and experiencing all of the different flavors. There's a lot of colors, there's a lot of different flavors, textures, different level of bite on my plate. They are big here in Spain on grilled vegetables, which are also very tasty, which we get, which I've eaten a lot of. And grilled vegetables are obviously also made with olive oil, which is very tasty and generally quite healthy. And I enjoy the different flavors and foods that have kept me healthy and are going to keep me healthy over time. But sometimes I think when we want to relax and recover, we need to take a break and we twist everything around. We want to have the junk food because we are forcing ourselves to be on a specific food schedule. We don't want to do any activity at all. We just want to lie and sit down and maybe wade into the water a bit and eat a lot of other types of foods than we would usually eat, which is completely fine. If we want to do that, there's nothing wrong per se with wanting to do that. But it's about the mindset of relaxing and recovery that we want to get a bit clearer on for our long-term health and fitness goals. And we want to drink a lot. I had 2 glasses of sangria yesterday with dinner. I think out of the 14 days that we've been here, or 13 days, I think there were 3, maybe 4 nights that I had a drink with dinner. And I'm not big on alcohol for various reasons. One of the most recent things that I learned about it is that it metabolizes into a carcinogen. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to develop cancer, but it does increase the risk we have of developing cancer in certain ways. But there are other reasons to actually sometimes have a glass of alcohol, because we're sitting around with friends, family, we're on a holiday, it's a nice hot night, we want to enjoy a meal with a glass of wine or a beer or something else, and I think that should be perfectly normal to do that. But what I didn't do is, under the guise of relaxing and recovering, is drop my entire lifestyle and then live the way I actually want to be living here, eating a lot of junk food, eating a lot of starchy, doughy, mass-produced foods, eating a lot of fatty, fried foods, drinking a lot of alcohol, doing all the things that I don't regularly do at home, so that tomorrow when I'm back home again, I can start living healthy again, because I don't feel I need to take a break from the lifestyle that I have, because it works for me. Right? And relaxing and recovering also has something to do with nourishing the mind, nourishing the body, nourishing the soul, so to speak, or the spirit. And sometimes we do that by letting go. But it's interesting to see that for me, the habits that I have and have developed are keeping me on track while I'm relaxing and having a great time, spending time with the family, eating foods that I enjoy, actually discovering many new flavors and new ways to enjoy and appreciate different cultures and different kinds of foods, because I am forcing myself to order things on the menu that I wouldn't usually consider ordering. So that's one part of relaxing and recovery, right? It is the insight that the lifestyle that I have, the habits that I have, are actually working for me, because I am able to translate those into a different environment, a holiday setting, and still feel like I am enjoying myself and doing things that I want to do and enjoy, because I've realized that those habits and the things that I am eating and am drinking on a regular basis are working for me. I've still been recovering from a back injury. Right? I've been recovering from a back injury, not still. I am still recovering from a back injury. About 5.5 weeks ago, I was doing kettlebell cleans in preparation for a squat, and I lifted the wrong way. I cleaned the kettlebell the wrong way, and I injured my back. Luckily, it has proven to be nothing permanent, And in the past week and a half, I've been adding pull-ups, push-ups, bodyweight squats. Actually, I started holding a 10-kilo dumbbell for the squats um, on my um, I started to hold 10 kilo dumbbell for my squats um, as I felt a bit more confident in working with weights again, and that has been going fine. The back pain has stayed away. 10 kilo is very light, by the way, but I just wanted to get a feel for where I was the um, with the weights and with the training, as it had been a month since I had actually injured my back, and all of the symptoms of back pain and of the injury had kind of faded. But it is going to take a long time for me to get back to lifting heavy things and to doing a lot of kettlebell swings, at least another 2 to 3 months before I'm going to be trying that again. And it's important to realize that relaxing and recovery also involves, there's the light of dawn through the blanket of clouds over the islands. It's important to realize that relaxing and recovery also is about understanding what our body is capable of and giving it time to recover and to heal itself, but also that there is relaxation in activity. And I think we sometimes forget that it is not always good for us to be doing absolutely nothing. In fact, I think one of the worst things we can do is to be sitting absolutely still all the time. I think it's also proven that sarcopenia becomes quite problematic if we spend too much time sitting and not using our muscles and our neuromuscular system and our cardiorespiratory system and our bones to lift heavy things, move fast, and you know, try to do the things with our body that our body was made for. But a part of the relaxing and recovery, so forcefully, because I injured myself, I had to train differently. And I've been doing a lot of low intensity, steady state cardio. And I can tell you that the 30 minutes on the treadmill, because it's been a bit too dark to go out for walks, and I don't really, there's not really a nice walking path along the coast here where I'm at. There's a lot of walking paths inland, but not here on the coast. Those 30 minutes on the treadmill, 30 minutes on the Stairmaster have actually proven to be super relaxing, and because I don't put on any music, I am just moving, and usually about 10 minutes in, it's like, oh, this is very tedious because it is very monotonous, very slow moving, because I'm trying to keep my heart rate in around the zone 1, zone 2 range. But at the same time, after about 15 or 20 minutes, my brain completely clears out and I start to have different ideas, new ideas, ideas for videos, ideas for stories, ideas for work, ideas for things we want to do with the family. There is this peacefulness and tranquility to motion, to movement, to breathing steadily, to being focused on one thing without distractions, without headphones in, which is what I'm going to do in the mornings because I don't like exercising with a lot of noise in my ear early in the morning. and simply being present of the moment is already a way to relax and recover. So it's also not that recovery and relaxing is completely stopping training and exercises, even though sometimes it is very warranted to do that for a week or two. But it is more about striking the balance of the levels of intensity versus the time we need to recover, um, versus what gives us pleasure, joy, and peace of mind. All I'm saying is it's not that clear cut. It's not that simple or prescriptive, even though I could come out here and say, to relax and recover, you have to do this. Do yoga every morning. Sit and meditate. Do your breath work. Make sure you get that sunlight in the first 10 minutes of the day. Do this, do that. But that might work sometimes. I'm not sure that works all the time for everyone in any situation. So I think learning what relaxing and recovery is, just like learning what the different modalities of sleeping are. Sometimes I sleep 6.5 hours or 6 hours. Sometimes I sleep 9 hours. Sometimes I eat 3,000 calories. Sometimes I eat 2,000 calories. Sometimes I eat a very meat-heavy meal, like a burger and fries. Sometimes I eat only greens throughout the day because it feels really good. Sometimes we rip open a sleeve of Oreos and it's finished within 20 minutes, together with a coffee with foamed up milk. Um, Sometimes I drink black coffee and that's it. And that keeps me going for the foreseeable future. And I enjoy all of those moments equally because they are all catering to my needs at different times of day in different fashions. And the same thing goes for exercise and training. Sometimes there are periods where we might want to go a bit stronger and harder because we're chasing specific goals. Sometimes we might want to take it easier. Sometimes we might want to do nothing. But we need to figure out when we want to have those different modalities and what those different modalities are for us, and how we can have those different modalities work out for us in different settings and situations. Okay? So relaxing and recovery, it's as much an art as a science, right? I think there are good ideas about what helps us relax, what helps us recover, that there needs to be time between two hard workouts for our nervous system to reset, for our body to grow stronger. At the same time, there is also good evidence that being relatively or moderately or mildly active throughout the day or for certain durations throughout the day is beneficial to our overall health and well-being. And it's about striking the balance. The couple of things that I do know for sure are these. One, 30 minutes of training isn't going to solve the health problems that we face given the circumstances, the food environment, the work environment, the transportation, the living, the activity environment that we have created for ourselves, right? We need to do more, but that doesn't mean everything we do needs to be at the level of intensity of a HIIT workout every day. And that's important to realize. I think that one of the biggest keys to our short-term and long-term health and fitness is learning to manage the intake of energy or calories versus the output of energy, and being very honest about the fact that the food environment we live in invites us to eat a lot of calories very quickly, whereas we cannot use that much energy as quickly as we can consume it. I'll give you an example. 2 Oreo cookies are about 100 calories, right? 100 units of energy. Even if I do a 10-minute HIIT session, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, and I push my heart rate to the max, I will burn close to 100 calories, but that is a lot of effort to have to put in consuming or utilizing the energy that 2 small cookies that are going to leave me hungry afterwards, if that was the meal, might provide me with, right? I have nothing against Oreos, I like eating Oreos, but I think we need to understand and realize that the amount of energy we expend relatively on a day to what we might be exposed to in terms of food is an important part for us to manage if we want to really invest in our long-term health and fitness. And the third thing is that we underestimate how much relaxation we can get out of not scrolling, because I do not find scrolling relaxing at all. In fact, I think it is one of the worst things you could possibly do for your peace of mind and your health and relaxation and your recovery. But finding an activity of doing something with our hands, whether that's drawing or painting or crafting something, building Legos, or origami, folding something, learning how to fold something nicely, or putting something together, or simply journaling. This is why journaling maybe is also so nice, because it's also a practice of the skill of writing, especially if you're able to write longhand nicely. It's a very relaxing activity, moving your hand through the motion, translating thoughts into action, into words on a page, or into something that you've built. We underestimate how good spending 10, 15, 30 minutes a day on an activity like that can be. And people sometimes ask me, well, if you wake up at 5, what time do you go to bed? Well, 9:30. If I'm lucky. Here on holidays, more 10, 10:30, which is why I haven't been hitting that 7 hours of sleep for the last couple of days, unless I skipped the live stream and slept in, which is what I did. All right. But where does that time come from? Well, what I'm not doing is I'm not sitting on the couch scrolling. What I'm not doing is I'm not staying informed or up to date on all of the latest series, on all of the different streaming services that want me to pay the money and sit down and watch them, right? What I am doing is I am in the kitchen and I am cooking, which is another form of that activity of actually doing something, right? Chopping food, creating a salad, or figuring out how to bake something in the oven, creating something tasty, mixing different ingredients, is one of those activities that requires focus and understanding and is relaxing and rewarding in and of itself. That is what I am spending my time on, and I'm spending time on crafting and creating videos and stories about my health and fitness journey, hopefully for people to learn and understand something from my experience and my journey that might help them on their journey as they go through their 30s, into their 40s, into their 50s, 60s, and 70s. So those are a couple of things that we don't really realize about relaxation and recovery that maybe we should be thinking about once in a while. The habits we have in daily life should be habits that we can maintain and sustain even when we are on a break or on holiday, because we don't need to be taking a break from a healthy lifestyle. And if you feel that is the case, then we need to go back to the drawing board and restart again with minimal changes and micro changes to our daily routine and daily habits to find the things that we can do that we feel help us thrive and feel better and get the most out of life. Relaxing and recovery is as much about being active as it is about taking breaks. And we need to understand the different modalities that we have in which we can do both at the same time, give or take. Well, it's 6:50 a.m. I have an appointment in the gym. It has been wonderful checking in with all of you here. It has been absolutely amazing to be here in this place with you in the mornings for live streams, for chats and conversations about health and fitness, as I've been taking a break from my regular life and the environment I'm usually in. Tomorrow morning I'll be back in my kitchen. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old and I'm training to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in the night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, 2,200 calories. I try to eat lots of greens and vegetables, legumes, variation of dishes and nutrients. And I try to eat sufficient protein, which is between 70 and 120 grams, depending on the day, of protein to support my strength and muscle building and regeneration goals. I try to spend time with people I love and care about. I try to do things that I enjoy, and I generally try to live a stress-free life. I understand that I might live to be 90, maybe even older. I would like to stay healthy and active for as long as I can in that life, be free of medicine, be independent, be capable, competent, for whatever life throws at me. I also have 2 children. I would like to set a good example for them, show them what an active lifestyle is, show them what a healthy adult lifestyle looks like, and give them the habits and skills and tools they need to make good choices for their health and fitness over time. If those are things you're interested in, go ahead, check out my channel, hit like, subscribe, share the channel with a friend. I'd be interested in continuing this conversation with you. If you're interested in continuing this conversation with me, I am here almost every day working out, talking about general health and fitness. All right, friends, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for dropping by. Be well, and remember, this is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. We're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. And the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I will see you tomorrow. Subscribe.